There are forces in this world that most people will never understand, energies that move silently through the fabric of reality, responding to intentions both pure and dark. What you're about to discover isn't just a story. It's a phenomenon that's been documented across centuries, across cultures, across the hidden corners of human experience, where the impossible becomes undeniable. Imagine this: someone who hates you, someone consumed by jealousy and malice, creates a cloth doll in secret. They take a strand of your hair that carries your essence, your frequency, your energetic signature. They weave it into this doll with one intention: to harm you, to control you, to drain your life force. But something happens that they never expected. Something that defies logic and shatters their understanding of reality itself. Overnight, the hair on that doll turns completely gray. Not slowly, not gradually. In a single night, every strand transforms from its original color to pure, lifeless gray. The person who created it wakes up to find their tool of manipulation rendered powerless, transformed into evidence of something far greater than they comprehended. This isn't fiction. This isn't folklore passed down through generations. This is what happens when someone tries to harm a person who carries a frequency that cannot be violated. Before we go deeper into this mystery, if you've ever felt like someone was working against you in ways you couldn't see, if you've experienced unexplained protection during your darkest moments, or if strange occurrences seem to follow those who've wronged you, type 777 in the comments right now. That number isn't random. It's a frequency of spiritual protection and truth revelation. And if this video found you today, it found you for a reason. Make sure you're subscribed, because what we're uncovering goes beyond anything you've heard before. Let's start with what most people don't know. Your hair isn't just dead protein strands growing from your scalp. Ancient traditions across the world recognize something that modern science is only beginning to touch on. Hair carries memory. Hair holds frequency. Hair is an antenna for the electromagnetic field that surrounds your body, the field that mystics have called the aura for thousands of years. When someone takes your hair with malicious intent, they're not just taking a physical object. They're attempting to create a direct link to your energetic body. In practices that span from Caribbean traditions to Southeast Asian folk magic, from African spiritual systems to European occult practices, hair has been used as a conduit. The belief is simple but profound. If you possess someone's hair, you possess a piece of their life force, and through that piece, you can influence the whole. But here's what those who practice such methods either don't know or choose to ignore. The energy of a person who walks in alignment with truth, protection, and higher frequency cannot be manipulated through these means. Their energy field operates on a completely different wavelength. It's like trying to hack into a system that doesn't use the same operating language. The connection simply cannot be established. Now let's talk about what happens when someone tries anyway. When a person creates that doll and incorporates your hair, they're performing what's essentially an energetic ritual. They're focusing their intention, their hatred, their desire to control into this physical object. They might speak words over it, perform gestures, or simply hold it while visualizing harm coming to you. In their mind, they're creating a puppet, a way to manipulate your reality from a distance. But if your frequency is protected, if you carry what we might call an energetic shield that comes from living authentically and walking your true path, something extraordinary occurs. The moment that hair is incorporated into the doll with harmful intent, an energetic circuit is attempted. The perpetrator tries to send their negative energy through the hair to reach you. But instead of flowing to you, that energy hits a wall, a boundary that their consciousness didn't know existed. So what actually causes the hair to turn gray overnight? This phenomenon has been witnessed and documented by people who've discovered these dolls, by practitioners who've attempted this work only to find it backfire, and by those who understand the deeper mechanics of energy exchange. The explanation exists at the intersection of quantum physics, biofield science, and ancient energetic wisdom. When negative energy cannot reach its intended target, it doesn't just disappear into the void. Energy must go somewhere. It must complete a circuit. In this case, the energy that was meant to harm you has nowhere to go except back to its source, or into the conduit that was supposed to carry it. That conduit is the hair on the doll. Hair turns grey naturally when melanocytes, the cells that produce pigment, stop functioning. In living humans, this happens gradually with age, stress, or certain medical conditions. But hair that's already been removed from the body doesn't have living melanocytes. So how does it turn grey? The answer lies in what happens at the molecular and energetic level when intense negative intention meets an impenetrable barrier. The attempt to harm someone protected creates what we might call an energetic short circuit. Imagine plugging a device designed for 120 volts into a 240 volt outlet. The surge doesn't just fail to power the device, it fries the circuits. Similarly, when malicious energy aimed at a high-frequency individual bounces back or gets trapped in the hair itself, it doesn't just fail, it creates a cascade of molecular disruption. The pigment molecules in the hair become destabilized. The very structure of the keratin undergoes rapid oxidation, similar to what happens to hair over years of exposure to stress hormones, but compressed into hours. The hair essentially experiences extreme energetic trauma. It ages not in regular time, but in accelerated spiritual time. One night, in proximity to that much concentrated blocked negative energy, equals years or decades of normal aging. But there's something even more fascinating happening here. The grey hair becomes a message, a sign that cannot be ignored. The person who created the doll cannot deny what they're seeing. They can't rationalize it away as coincidence or natural occurrence. They wake up and find undeniable evidence that their actions have triggered something beyond their control. The grey hair is proof that they've encountered a force they didn't believe in or vastly underestimated. Some people who've discovered these dolls report something even stranger. Not only is the hair grey, but it's also brittle, as if it aged 100 years overnight. Some report that the hair falls apart when touched, crumbling to dust. This complete breakdown represents the absolute rejection of the negative energy by your energetic field. It's not just blocked, it's completely reversed and sent back with such force that the physical conduit itself cannot survive intact. Now that you understand the mechanism, let's talk about how you know if someone is attempting this kind of energetic manipulation against you. You might never find a physical doll, but your body, your intuition, and your reality will give you signals that something is happening in the unseen realm. These 7 signs are your early warning system. First, you experience sudden, unexplained exhaustion that doesn't match your physical activity. You wake up feeling drained, even after a full night's sleep. This isn't regular fatigue. This is the feeling that something is pulling on your energy, trying to establish a connection. Your energetic body is working overtime to maintain its boundaries, and that work requires resources. If this exhaustion comes in waves, particularly at night or during specific times, pay attention. Second, you have vivid dreams about a specific person, especially dreams where they're trying to control you, hold you back, or keep you trapped in some way. Dreams are the language of the subconscious and the energetic realm. When someone is directing focused intention toward you, your awareness picks up on it, even if your waking mind hasn't consciously identified the threat. These dreams are your psyche's way of alerting you to the energetic assault. Third, you notice a pattern of obstacles appearing specifically in areas where you're about to succeed. You're on the verge of a breakthrough at work, and suddenly unexpected complications arise. You're about to launch a project and technical issues appear out of nowhere. You're building a relationship and bizarre misunderstandings keep occurring. When these obstacles follow a pattern and seem almost intelligently designed to stop your progress, you're not dealing with random bad luck. Fourth, you feel a sudden heaviness or pressure in specific areas of your body, particularly the chest, the back of the neck, or the solar plexus. These are the energetic centers that are most vulnerable to external influence. When someone is attempting to send negative energy your way, these areas act like receivers. They pick up the signal and manifest it as physical sensation. If you suddenly feel a weight on your chest or tension in your neck that has no medical explanation, your energetic body might be defending itself. Fifth, electronic devices malfunction around you more than usual. Phones glitch, computers crash, lights flicker. This isn't superstition. Negative energetic attacks create disturbances in electromagnetic fields, and our modern devices are extremely sensitive to such disturbances. If your technology starts acting strange right when you're feeling targeted or thinking about a specific person, the connection isn't coincidental. Sixth, animals behave strangely around you or avoid you temporarily. Animals are incredibly sensitive to energy fields and can detect when someone's field is under attack or defense mode. If your normally affectionate pet suddenly keeps distance, or if animals that usually approach you seem wary, they're responding to the energetic battle happening around you. They're not avoiding you, they're sensing the intensity of the protective barrier that's activated. Seventh, the person targeting you begins experiencing their own problems, seemingly out of nowhere. Their health declines, their relationships fracture, their career stalls, their reputation suffers. This is the boomerang effect we discussed earlier. When someone sends negative energy toward a protected individual, that energy must go somewhere, and it inevitably returns to its source. If you notice the person you suspect is working against you, suddenly facing multiple life challenges, it's not your imagination, it's the universe's response system in action. Here's the question that might be running through your mind. Why are some people protected from these energetic attacks while others are vulnerable? What makes someone's frequency impenetrable to malicious manipulation? The answer isn't about being better or worse, more spiritual or less spiritual. It's about alignment, authenticity, and purpose. Think of your energetic field as a broadcast frequency. When you live in alignment with your authentic self, when you speak your truth even when it's difficult, when you act from integrity rather than manipulation, your frequency becomes coherent. Coherence means all the waves are moving in the same direction, amplifying each other rather than canceling each other out. This creates a strong, stable field that's very difficult to penetrate or disrupt. People who are naturally protected often share certain characteristics. They refuse to compromise their values for temporary gain. They've walked through fire and emerged stronger, which means their energy field has been tested and fortified through real challenge. They don't harbor long-term resentment or seek revenge because they understand that holding on to negativity weakens their own field. They're often truth-tellers in environments where lying is easier and comfortable. There's also something that happens to people who've survived what should have destroyed them. Every time you face a challenge that could have broken you, but you rise instead, your energetic field develops a kind of immunity. It's similar to how your physical immune system becomes stronger after defeating an illness. Your energy field learns to recognize threats and respond automatically. It builds defenses that operate without your conscious effort. This protection isn't random, and it isn't granted by external forces alone. It's co-created through how you navigate life. When someone tries to harm you and fails, when obstacles appear and you overcome them, when betrayal happens and you heal and continue forward, you're literally training your energy field to be resilient. You're teaching it to maintain its integrity under pressure. Here's something crucial to understand. This protection doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean life becomes easy or that people won't try to harm you. What it means is that attempts to manipulate, control, or energetically attack you will fail. You'll still face normal human difficulties. You'll still experience loss, disappointment, and hardship. But targeted, intentional malicious energy directed specifically at you will bounce off or reverse itself. Some people discover this protection in shocking ways. They find out years later that someone performed rituals against them, sent them curses, or worked with practitioners to harm them. And when they look back at that time period in their lives, they realize nothing particularly bad happened. In fact, sometimes those periods were when they experienced unexpected breakthroughs. This is the evidence that protection isn't theoretical, it's operational. The grey hair on the doll is physical proof of what's happening in the energetic realm. It's the universe's way of making the invisible visible. It's a sign that can't be denied or explained away by coincidence. When someone sees that hair turn grey overnight, they're confronting the reality that there are laws operating beyond their understanding, and that those laws protect certain individuals with a ferocity that cannot be overcome by manipulation. Now let's talk about the consequences that unfold for the person who created that doll, the person who woke up to find the hair turned grey. What happens next isn't punishment from external forces, it's the inevitable result of violating energetic law. Think of it like touching a hot stove. The burn isn't punishment, it's cause and effect. First, they experience a psychological breakdown of their confidence in their own power. People who engage in these practices often do so because they feel powerless in normal ways. They turn to manipulation because they believe it gives them control. When they see undeniable evidence that their method failed spectacularly, it shatters their sense of control. They realize they're not as powerful as they thought. Worse, they realize they've been operating on false assumptions about how reality works. Second, fear sets in. And not just any fear. This is existential dread born from the recognition that they've been seen by forces they don't understand. The grey hair is a message, and that message says, I know what you tried to do, and you are powerless against me. That fear doesn't fade quickly. It manifests as paranoia, as sleepless nights, as the constant feeling of being watched or exposed. They begin to wonder what else is possible. If the hair can turn grey, what else can happen? Third, their own energy field becomes destabilized. Remember, we discussed how blocked negative energy must go somewhere? When it bounces back to the sender, it doesn't return empty-handed. It carries with it a kind of energetic recoil. Imagine firing a gun with a massive kickback. The shooter feels the force of what they tried to send out. This manifests as sudden health issues, particularly in areas related to the intentions they sent. If they wished you mental confusion, they experience it themselves. If they wanted you to suffer relationship problems, their own relationships begin to fracture. Fourth, synchronicities start appearing in their life that force them to confront their actions. They might randomly encounter information about karma or energetic law. They might meet people who've experienced similar backfires. They might have dreams or visions that show them the consequences of their actions. The universe doesn't let this slide quietly. It creates scenarios that push the person toward acknowledgement and hopefully transformation. Fifth, opportunities begin closing for them in strange ways. Doors that were opening suddenly slam shut. Projects that were succeeding suddenly fail. Money that was flowing suddenly stops. This isn't direct punishment, it's the natural consequence of having a destabilized energy field. When your frequency is chaotic from the backfire of your own negativity, you stop being in alignment with opportunities. You literally can't match the frequency of success and abundance because your field is now tuned to the frequency of the harm you tried to create. Sixth, relationships in their life begin to fall apart, particularly with people who operate on higher frequencies. Friends who've always been there suddenly distance themselves without clear reason. Family members start seeing them differently. Romantic partners sense something is off. This happens because their energy field is now broadcasting a frequency of malicious intent that's been reflected and amplified. Sensitive people pick up on this unconsciously and create distance to protect themselves. Seventh, They face a choice that will determine the trajectory of the rest of their life. They can continue down the path of trying to manipulate and control, which will lead to increasing isolation, failure, and suffering. Or they can face what they've done, acknowledge the forces they've encountered, and begin the difficult work of transformation. Some people choose the first path and spiral further into darkness. Others experience a genuine awakening, realizing that the gray hair was actually a gift, a wake-up call that saved them from continuing down a destructive path. Let's get scientific for a moment, because this isn't just spiritual philosophy. There's a quantum mechanical explanation for why energetic attacks fail against certain individuals. Modern physics has discovered principles that ancient wisdom traditions have known for millennia. Understanding these principles helps you comprehend why the gray hair phenomenon isn't supernatural, it's supernormal. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles that have once been connected remain connected, regardless of distance. Information transmitted to one particle instantly affects its entangled partner. When someone takes your hair, they're working on the principle of entanglement, believing they can affect you through that connection. But here's what they don't understand. Entanglement works both ways, and the stronger frequency dominates the interaction. If your energy field is coherent, strong, and aligned, you become the dominant node in that entangled relationship. Instead of them affecting you through the hair, you affect what happens to the hair through your field. When they try to send negative energy through that connection, your field's coherence essentially hijacks the connection and reverses the flow. The hair becomes a receiver of your protective frequency, rather than a transmitter of their harmful intent. The observer effect in quantum mechanics tells us that observation affects outcome. On a quantum level, particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, at which point they collapse into one state. Your consciousness, your awareness of being protected, your belief in your own energetic integrity acts as an observer that collapses potential harm into actual protection. You're not just passively protected. You're actively participating in creating that protection through your consciousness. Biofield science, which studies the electromagnetic fields around living organisms, has measured significant differences between people in different emotional and spiritual states. People in coherent states, characterized by genuine compassion, integrity, and authentic expression, generate measurably stronger and more organized fields. These fields create what's essentially an electromagnetic shield. Attempts to disrupt such fields from the outside require energy that matches or exceeds the field's strength. Most malicious intentions don't carry enough coherent energy to penetrate a truly aligned person's field. There's also the principle of resonance. Everything vibrates at a specific frequency. For two things to interact and affect each other, they must be able to resonate. A high frequency cannot be controlled by a low frequency. They simply don't match. When someone operating from jealousy, hatred, and malicious intent tries to affect someone operating from authenticity, truth, and aligned purpose, there's no resonance. The frequencies are too different. It's like trying to tune an FM radio to receive AM signals. The equipment isn't compatible. The morphic field theory proposed by researcher Rupert Sheldrake suggests that there are fields of information and influence that connect similar things across space and time. When you live in alignment with truth and integrity, you tap into a morphic field that includes all others who've walked that path. You're not just protected by your individual energy, you're connected to a collective field of protection that spans history. Those who try to harm you aren't just confronting you, they're confronting the accumulated strength of that entire field. While we can't verify every story, there are documented accounts from multiple cultural contexts of this exact phenomenon. Anthropologists studying folk magic practices have recorded instances where practitioners admitted to creating these dolls only to have them fail in dramatic ways. Therapists working with people who've left occult practices have heard confessions of rituals that backfired. Private investigators hired to look into strange occurrences have photographed evidence of these dolls with grey hair. One account from the Caribbean tells of a woman who suspected her romantic rival of working roots against her. She hired her own practitioner to investigate. The practitioner discovered a doll hidden in the woman's workplace, and when they retrieved it, they found the doll's hair, which had originally been jet black, was completely white. The practitioner explained that this meant the intended victim was under such strong protection that the work not only failed but destroyed itself. The woman who created it fell seriously ill within a month. In Southeast Asia, a man discovered through a series of strange coincidences that his business partner had visited a spirit worker to create a binding spell to prevent him from leaving their partnership. The spirit worker had used the man's hair, collected from a shared workspace. When the business partner returned for a follow-up session, the worker refused to continue. She showed him the charm she'd created, and the hair on it had not only turned grey, but had also become brittle and fallen out. She told him the person he was targeting was protected by ancestors, and that continuing would bring disaster to both of them. From European traditions, there are accounts in old grimoires and magical texts that warn practitioners about attempting to curse certain individuals. These texts describe signs that a person is protected, and one of the most commonly mentioned signs is materials used in spells degrading or transforming unexpectedly. Hair turning grey, wax melting when it shouldn't, written names fading from paper, these were all interpreted as warnings that the target was under protection too strong to overcome. A more recent account comes from someone who found a doll hidden in their home after a bitter divorce. The ex-spouse had created it during the marriage while they were still together, planning for eventual control or harm. When discovered years later, the hair on the doll had not only turned grey, but the entire doll had an unusual aging appearance, as if it had been buried in the ground for decades rather than hidden in a closet for a few years. The person who found it reported that during those same years their ex-spouse had faced bankruptcy, health problems, and multiple failed relationships, while their own life flourished. What makes these accounts significant isn't just the grey hair phenomenon itself. It's the pattern that emerges across cultures, across practices, across different methods of attempted manipulation. The consistency of the outcome suggests we're not dealing with isolated coincidences, but with a reliable principle of energetic reality. When protected people are targeted, the tools of that targeting transform in specific ways that communicate failure and warning. Skeptics might argue these are fabricated stories or misinterpretations of natural decay, but consider this. Hair that's been removed from the body and stored in normal conditions doesn't turn grey overnight. It doesn't age rapidly. It remains stable for years, even decades. The transformation only happens under specific circumstances, when it's been incorporated into an object created with harmful intent towards someone whose energetic field rejects that intent. That specificity is what moves this from folklore into phenomenon. By now you might be wondering, do I carry this protection? Am I someone whose energy field operates on this level? These questions matter because understanding your own energetic nature helps you navigate relationships, opportunities, and challenges with greater awareness. Let's explore the markers that indicate you're protected in this way. You've survived situations that destroyed others, not just survived, but emerged stronger, wiser, more capable. When you look back at your life, you see a pattern of obstacles that seemed insurmountable at the time, but you overcame them in ways that surprised even you. This isn't about luck. This is evidence of an energetic resilience that kicks in exactly when you need it most. People who've wronged you face consequences without your involvement. You don't seek revenge. You don't plot their downfall. You simply move forward with your life. Yet you notice that those who betrayed, deceived, or tried to harm you face their own reckonings. Their lives unravel in ways that seem almost poetic in their timing and specificity. This isn't coincidence. This is the boomerang effect in action, proof that your energy field has defenses you don't consciously activate. You have an unusually accurate intuition about people's intentions. Within moments of meeting someone, you sense whether they're genuine or hiding something. You pick up on energy before words even confirm or deny your impression. This heightened sensitivity isn't paranoia, it's your energetic field scanning the environment and providing you information. Protected people develop this ability because their field is constantly monitoring for threats and opportunities. Synchronicities guide you away from danger and toward beneficial situations. You miss flights that later have problems. You decide at the last minute not to take a job and that company collapses months later. You meet people randomly who provide exactly what you need exactly when you need it. These aren't just fortunate circumstances. They're evidence of a guidance system operating through your energetic field. You've noticed that your presence changes the energy of spaces and situations. When you enter a room where there's tension or negativity, things shift. Either the tension dissolves, or the source of negativity reveals itself clearly, or you instinctively know to remove yourself before getting entangled. Your field acts as a catalyst, forcing truth to surface and inauthenticity to expose itself. Animals, children, and highly sensitive people are drawn to you. They sense something about your energy that makes them feel safe and understood. This happens because your field broadcasts a frequency of authenticity and protection. Beings who operate more on instinct and energy than on social conditioning recognize this frequency and respond to it naturally. You have a persistent sense of purpose even during difficult times. Regardless of external circumstances, there's a feeling deep within you that you're here for a reason. That reason might not always be clear, but the sense of it never fully leaves you. This isn't ego or delusion, it's your consciousness recognizing that you're connected to something larger than your individual life. And that connection is what generates the protection you experience. Knowledge is power, but only if coupled with appropriate action. If you recognize the signs that someone is attempting energetic manipulation against you, there are specific steps you can take to reinforce your protection and neutralize their efforts without engaging in the same negative practices they're using. First, acknowledge what you're sensing without falling into paranoia. There's a difference between recognizing a genuine energetic attack and becoming obsessed with the idea that everyone is out to get you. Trust your intuition, but don't let suspicion rule your life. Acknowledgement means simply recognizing. Someone is directing negative energy toward me, and now I'm going to address it calmly and effectively. Second, strengthen your energetic boundaries through conscious practice. This doesn't require elaborate rituals or special training. Simple practices work powerfully. Spend time in nature, which naturally grounds and recalibrates your energy field. Engage in activities that bring you genuine joy and peace, which raises your frequency. Practice visualization, where you imagine your entire body surrounded by a brilliant light that nothing negative can penetrate. These aren't just psychological exercises. They have measurable effects on your biofield. Third, cut energetic cords with the person you suspect. Throughout each day, we create energetic connections with people we interact with. Most are harmless and temporary. But when someone is obsessively focused on you with negative intent, that creates a cord that can drain your energy. To cut these cords, set aside quiet time and visualize a bright light severing any connection between you and that person. You're not wishing them harm, you're simply declaring that they have no access to your energy. Do this daily if necessary. Fourth, maintain your integrity absolutely. The strongest protection against energetic attack is living in complete alignment with truth. When there's no discord between who you are and how you present yourself, when your words match your actions, when your private self and public self are consistent, your energy field becomes impenetrable. Manipulation works through finding cracks, inconsistencies, places where your energy is fragmented. Integrity seals those cracks. Fifth, document what's happening without obsessing over it. Keep a simple journal of strange occurrences, feelings of being drained, dreams about specific people, obstacles that appear. This serves two purposes. First, it helps you see patterns objectively rather than just feeling them emotionally. Second, if the situation escalates and you need to take practical action, you have a record. But keep this documentation brief. Don't let it become a fixation that gives the situation more energy than it deserves. Sixth, focus your energy on your purpose and goals rather than on the person targeting you. This is crucial. Every moment you spend thinking about them, angry at them, or imagining confrontations is a moment your energy is directed toward them. That creates connection. Instead, pour your energy into building, creating, growing, and moving forward. Success is the best protection and the most powerful statement. When you're thriving, their efforts automatically fail. Seventh, if physical evidence exists, like finding an actual doll or charm, handle it carefully. Don't touch it with your bare hands. Don't keep it in your living space. You can choose to destroy it ceremonially, returning it to the elements through burial or burning, while setting the intention that all negative energy returns to its sender, transformed into learning opportunities. Or you can simply dispose of it and cleanse your space thoroughly afterward. The physical object is just a symbol. The real work happens in the energetic realm. Eighth, consider seeking support from trusted people who understand these matters. This doesn't mean you need to find a practitioner to fight back on your behalf. It means talking to friends or advisors who can provide perspective, who won't dismiss your experience, and who can help you stay grounded while you navigate this. Isolation makes you more vulnerable. Community strengthens your field. Understanding this phenomenon isn't just about protecting yourself from negative energy. It's about stepping fully into the power and responsibility of who you are. When you realize that your energy field operates on a level that naturally deflects malicious intent, it changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive to people's negative behavior because you understand it cannot truly harm you. Someone's jealousy, gossip, or even their attempts at manipulation become like weather passing through. You acknowledge it, you take appropriate practical steps, but you don't internalize it. You don't carry it with you. This freedom from reactivity is one of the greatest gifts of understanding your protection. You develop compassion even for those who try to harm you. When you understand that their attempts will ultimately hurt them more than you, that their negative energy will boomerang back to them, you can see them not as enemies but as people trapped in their own lack of understanding. This doesn't mean you trust them or allow them close. It means you can release the burden of hatred while maintaining healthy boundaries. You take full responsibility for maintaining the alignment that creates this protection. You recognize that this isn't permanent insurance that requires no maintenance. Your protection remains strong as long as you remain authentic, aligned, and committed to truth. If you slip into manipulation yourself, if you compromise your integrity, if you begin operating from the same negative space as those who attack you, your protection weakens. This creates accountability that serves your highest good. You become a lighthouse for others who are just beginning to understand these principles. People who are waking up to their own protection, who are starting to notice the patterns we've discussed, will be drawn to you for guidance and confirmation. Your role isn't to save them or do their work for them. It's to reflect back the truth of what's possible and encourage them to develop their own understanding and strength. You stop wasting energy on proving yourself to people who will never understand. You recognize that those who are meant to see you will see you clearly without effort. Those who aren't meant to understand will create elaborate reasons to dismiss, diminish, or attack you, regardless of what you do. Your energy is too valuable to spend trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You embrace your purpose with less fear and more confidence. Knowing that you're protected from energetic manipulation frees you to take risks, speak truths, and pursue paths that less protected people might avoid. You can step into leadership, visibility, and influence without the paralyzing fear that someone will destroy you with their negative intentions. You can be bold because you understand the armor you carry. The phenomenon of the doll's hair turning gray overnight is more than just a strange occurrence. It's a message from the universe itself about the nature of protection power and the consequences of trying to manipulate forces beyond our understanding. It's proof that there are laws operating in reality that most people never consider, laws that ensure justice, maintain balance, and protect those who walk aligned paths. If you've recognized yourself in this video, if you've experienced the signs we discussed, if you've witnessed the backfire effect in the lives of those who've tried to harm you, you're not imagining things. You're observing evidence of principles that have been true throughout human history, but are rarely discussed in our modern world. You carry protection that cannot be overcome by manipulation, and that protection is both a gift and a responsibility. For those who might be tempted to try to harm someone through these methods, let this be a clear warning. The gray hair is just the beginning of what happens when you violate energetic law. The consequences extend far beyond one failed spell or ritual. They ripple through every area of your life until you face what you've done and choose a different path. The universe doesn't punish, but it does educate, and sometimes that education comes through experiences that cannot be ignored or explained away. And for everyone watching, remember this truth. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Protect it fiercely, strengthen it consciously, direct it purposefully. Don't waste it on revenge, hatred, or trying to control others. When you walk in alignment with truth, authenticity, and purpose, you activate a level of protection that operates automatically. You become someone whose hair, even when taken and woven into a doll by those who wish you harm, transforms overnight from whatever color it was to gray, sending an unmistakable message that echoes through the invisible realm. You are seen, you are protected, you are not at the mercy of those who operate in darkness. Comment 999 below if this message resonated with your soul, if you recognized your own experiences in these words, or if you now understand something that was previously mysterious. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's been targeted, attacked, or manipulated and doesn't understand why they're still standing strong despite everything thrown at them. The gray hair is evidence, the backfire is real, the protection is operational. Walk forward knowing the truth is your shield, alignment is your sword, and the universe itself stands with those who carry the light that refuses to be dimmed. Thank you for watching, and may you continue to walk protected, powerful, and purposeful in every step you take.